Hello family, we meet again. Just having my hot tea out here, and I'm going to start planting some watermelons in trays. And I just wanted to talk to you guys for a minute as I plant these. And by the way, these are tender sweet orange, yellow doll, and sangria watermelons. I'm excited about having any watermelons started at all, because I didn't know if we were going to have any or if we were going to even start any this season, because things are kind of still up in the air, you know, with our soon-to-be garden area, makeshift garden areas, starting a potager. Things are kind of all over the place, so didn't exactly know if watermelon was in the cards for us this season or if I was going to have to wait. I still don't know for sure, but I am definitely going to start the seeds in the hopes that we will have a place for them by the time they're ready to go in the ground. You know, you hope for the best and you do your best, and then we'll see where we're at. I may end up selling these or giving them away if I don't have a spot for them to go exactly when it's time for them to be put in the ground. We shall see. I wanted to talk to you guys today, though, about something kind of special and important today on this lovely Sunday. That's the day that I'm recording this, is Sunday. And it's Palm Sunday today. And this is the time when most people are remembering things. Some people are remembering things about their faith. Some people are remembering previous Easters. Some people are remembering the year before. Some people are remembering things they've learned about biblical times that they weren't there for, but they remember the stories. So, I wanted to talk to you about what I remember. I started thinking about memory and kind of going back through the Easters in my mind and the Palm Sundays and yeah, also the scripture stories. But I started remembering specific things about my life, specific events in my memory. And certain things just hit hard, you know what I mean? Certain memories just like, they hit you pretty hard. They hit you in the feels. So I was overwhelmed with gratitude and gratefulness for the things that I have when I had these memories. For instance, I remember a time in my life when I didn't have seed trays to start in. I didn't even have good seeds. I just had dollar store seeds or whatever I could find. I remember when I didn't even know that you were supposed to put holes in the bottom of a pot to allow drainage. And I didn't know why my plant never lived, because I had no idea about such things. I remember a time when I didn't have a such thing as Google or the internet. My parents had access to dial-up. They had a dial-up computer. Do you remember those? Big old box, you know, and keyboard and everything. So they had our one main computer eventually when I was a teenager. Before that, we didn't have a computer. That was too early in time, I guess, for our family to own a computer. So when I was little, we didn't have any such thing as a computer. You had to go to a library or some public place to try to access a such thing as a computer. So when we did finally get a family computer, my parents used that computer for knowledge and things. The kids, which were me and my sister, the children, we're not allowed to just access that whenever we wanted to. We asked permission to play one computer game that I liked very much on that computer, but that was about it. So I didn't have free liberal access to this computer. So I remember such a time when I couldn't Google things and couldn't just instantly look up information. So I didn't have the knowledge that people just have readily available at their fingertips right now. I didn't have that. I had to learn from my grandparents or from friends or from word of mouth or from some other way. I couldn't learn from the internet. Just writing a label real quick. Sangria watermelon. And yes, I handwrite all of my labels. And I have to do it right when I plant them, or I will forget what I planted. The other thing I was thinking about that I remember as I was sitting at this table, which is where I am, by the way. I'm at my picnic table that you guys saw on the recent video. If you watched our recent video, you saw that, where I brought home a gigantic free picnic table that can fit my entire family on it. It is a monstrosity, but it is a beautiful monstrosity, and it's ours. And I get to share that with my family. I get to come out here and do exactly what I'm doing. This is exactly what it was meant for. I was supposed to come out here and have my tea and plant my seeds and talk to big family and reflect, or just sit in the quiet or pray or whatever. You know, it's my sitting spot. It's my peaceful place out here in my potager. We now have placed this huge, big picnic table out here for our use in the potager. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I don't regret picking it up at all. This thing is great. But as I sat here, enjoying this time, and watching Biscuit play and chew on sticks out there, it suddenly dawned on me, I remember a time when we didn't have outdoor anything. We didn't even have a folding chair. We didn't have outdoor stuff, outdoor seating places. That was not something that we owned. We were barely able to afford seating places within our home, let alone outside, outdoors. So we didn't have, we've never had a giant picnic table. We've never had such a thing before. I could not, I imagined and I dreamed about it, but I knew that one day I would have a garden and a potager, and I knew that I would make it beautiful, and I knew I would make seating arrangements in it. But at that time, that seemed so far away. I just did not actually know whether or not I was going to have a potager, or even a little small kitchen garden, or even a little flower bed. I just didn't know if such things were ever going to actually happen for me. It wasn't guaranteed, but it was wanted and it was dreamed about. I just remember that time when this that's happening right now as I'm sitting here, this was a faraway dream, and now it's a reality. And the overwhelming gratitude just swelled within me. I'm just sitting here just soaking it in. I'm just loving it. And then other things came to mind too, as I was just having this day full of like memory and remembrance, and thinking about things that used to not be so, you know. 8 years ago, I know it seems like a while back, but it flew by very fast, let me tell you. But 8 years ago, at this time, 8 years ago, I did not imagine, I did not see myself having a son. I did not see us having a boy and having a son of our own. I imagined having a child like Miles, you know, and I loved our girls, and I was okay if our girls were all we ever had. Or if we tried again and would have had another girl, I would have been okay with that. I would have been fine with that. But I just never imagined in my lifetime that I would have a son, that I would have a boy. And now here he is. He's 7 years old now. And it's a reality. And I am definitely overwhelmed with gratitude for him. He is the greatest example of everything I wanted in a little boy. I got everything I wanted and more. So I'm just grateful for him. I just didn't see that as part of our life that long ago, and yet now it is. I was walking around our farm today, and I was just looking at all the changes, all the things that we've done in just such a short time. It's been a very short time. We moved here in October, so November, December, January, February, March, and now it's April. Now it's the beginning of April, so 5 months. So not even half a year, guys. Not even half a year. Look at all these changes. When we first arrived here, I remember when we first arrived here, first pulled in that driveway, I remember looking at this place going, Well, we're going to need to clear it, you know, because it wasn't cleared. I remember looking at some things about this house thinking I was overwhelmed with just, wow, this house, you know, loving it. But I remember looking at some things going, well, that'll need fixing or that'll need changing. Little tweaks here and there, you know. Now they are. Yes, honey?
Can I have your phone so I can look at Lego tree houses?
I
have $10.18.
Awesome. Well, I will let you look at Lego tree houses shortly, but I'm actually recording and I'm talking to Big Family. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
But I will let you use it to look at Lego stuff in just a minute. Just let me finish talking to Big Family. Okay. I was actually talking about you a little while ago.
I'll just sit right here.
Okay, you can listen to me talking. Hey, Miles, what are some of the things, by the way, that you remember? Like your good memories of things that we used to not have, but now we do?
Sarah and Lily's scooters.
The scooters, yeah. I never would have imagined that that Santa would have brought y'all some of the things that he has, or that Nanny, Mom, Papa Blair would have given y'all some of the Christmas gifts they have, or Juju and Papa giving y'all some of the amazing things they have.
Wait, what did they give us?
You don't remember?
No.
All those birthdays and Christmases, and you don't remember anything that they gave you?
No.
Oh, well, you should go look in your room and think about that for a minute.
You know, I think I know exactly what one of Biscuit's good times were.
What?
You guys bringing her home.
Yeah. She probably couldn't have imagined a family like us, that she was going to have us as a family. She probably didn't know that was going to happen. But I'm sure she's grateful that it did, because she has a really good life. Don't try to eat the gnats. I never in my life could have imagined that we would actually own the tractor that we own. I know that we had Mater, and Mater was good, and it worked half the time.
But it was rusty.
It was crickety and rusty, and it did work sometimes, and it did an okay job, and we made it work for the low price that we got it for. I'm very grateful that we had it for the short time we did, but I never could have imagined that we would have the awesome, amazing Kubota tractor that we have now that just works 1,000 times better. I'm so grateful for it. I never could have imagined that. I just remember a time when that wasn't so. And it makes me happy for the time now that it is.
I remember down at the road, Dad had this whole tent set up, and he was fixing the Mater.
When he was fixing Mater. I'm going to move this, and then we'll move Big Family and go talk to them over in a different spot for a minute.
Okay. Hello, guys. Oh, watermelon seeds. 85 days. Wow, that's a lot. Takes 85 days to grow? I don't know. Maybe just seeds.
Biscuit's chasing him.
Hey, no! Hey, bring that back!
She said, no, I found it. It's mine. I found it.
Actually, I found that first, Miss Lady.
All right, go inside. I'll see you in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go inside. I'll see you in a minute. You got sock tooties. I remember when there was such a time in our life that we struggled to make ends meet. I remember when there was a time where we honestly didn't know if we had enough for things like groceries, diapers, formula, gas money. It was really stressful, and it was really hard. We honestly had to stretch really hard to make it to the end of the week, to make it to payday. There were times when we didn't have security. We didn't know if we were going to be okay. And I don't look back on those times with sorrow in my heart. I don't look at it as poor me, you know, I should feel bad for myself for having to have gone through that. No, I remember that, and then I look at now, and it just brings me to that grateful place again. It just brings me to that place of remembering that those rough circumstances, those seasons of hoping and waiting and holding on, those seasons are short-lived. Those seasons are not forever. That's not a permanent situation. It's just a situation, and it can change. It's not something that's written in stone. It's not something that has to make you sad forever or worry about it forever. It is something that's fixable. It is something that you can make better, make it be different. And it's a season that really makes you grateful for when you come out of that season. And when your circumstance does finally change, you recognize that change right away. It's an instant relief. I remember the hard blood, sweat, and tears that I put into that space of ground out there in Louisiana, that dust bowl that we lived in, just hard clay, unyielding, unmanageable ground. I remember breaking my back working so hard, just tilling and plowing and digging and scraping and trying so hard just to make anything grow out there, just to make something grow. I worked all day in the summer heat and got burnt really bad, and just threw it all down and swore to Wes I would never pick it up again. I told him I'm never going to garden in Louisiana again. I remember the hard times. I remember planting 1 million plants and not getting a single bit of yield out of it, not getting a single bit of vegetable or fruit out of those plants. Everything died. I remember crying and thinking that I'm never gonna be good at this, that I'm never gonna be a good gardener, that I'm never gonna have a place that actually produces food or flowers. I remember that. I remember picking strawberries with my tata. He died when I was a teenager. My great-grandfather, he passed away. But I remember gardening with him. I remember carrying my little tiny basket. I remember picking the red strawberries and the green ones. I remember asking him questions. I remember chasing field mice through the corn, trying to get those bad little mice away from Tata's garden. I remember him telling me things, teaching me things. I remember him handing me water when I was tired and hot and sweaty. And I asked him, how much more of this do we have to do? And he said, won't be long now, child, won't be long now. And he helped me get through a whole day of gardening outside in the sun. I remember my great-grandmother, his wife. I remember her telling me when I was, couldn't have been older than that, about 5, when I was still out there in the strawberry patch with Tata. On the evenings when I would go sit with the grown people and I would watch them have coffee. And I remember her asking me if I had learned to cook yet. Because I told her, I said something like, I'd love to make things like that, or I'd love to be able to cook, her food, because her food was good. And I said, I want to cook like that. Your food is so good. She said, child, you don't know how to cook? I said, no, ma'am. She said, come on, we're going to fix that right now. She set me up to the stove on a stool, got me on a step stool. I got up to that stove, could barely reach it. I was little. And she taught me how to make scrambled eggs. I remember that woman said, you're going to need to know how to feed your family and your youngins. So she told me how to feed myself. And at least I knew how to cook one thing. And I got pretty good at it. I remember that. I remember my great-grandparents. I remember being the peacemaker in hard times of trouble and struggle with my family. I remember trying to make peace. I remember having to try to help my family hold together, try to help us remember why we're here, try to relieve contention in hard situations. I remember every loss that we've had. I remember every chicken and goat and pig that we have buried. I remember when our family pets, our dogs, passed away. I remember every baby that I have bottle raised. I remember every farm animal I've cared for. I remember their names. I remember what they looked like, what they sounded like. I remember all the mistakes I've made because I just didn't know any better. And I remember each life that I've saved because I did know how to do it and how to help them. I remember each growing season, each kidding season. I remember every spring, every winter. This place is already gathering memories. I know all the other places we've lived have had lots of memories embedded in them, but I can honestly say that in our gardening and farming life, the kids are squealing. They're not in danger, I promise, they're playing. In our farming life though, every other place that we've lived up till now, it probably has the most learning experiences, probably has the most failures, if I'm honest, probably has the most loss. It was the beginning phases. It was the hard learning curves. It was the starting time. And I can honestly say that this place that we now live is the one I'm looking forward to with the most hope and encouragement and joy, because this place is rapidly building up happy memories, fond memories, joyful memories, memories of succeeding, memories of growth and change. I'm already seeing more return and more bounty and more fruitfulness here in this place in Alabama than I ever did in any other place that we've tried to live. And one day, I'm going to be able to look back and say, I remember when we just got to Alabama. I remember when we had our first year of growing there. I remember that first crop. I remember that first kidding season. I'm going to look back with fondness on this time one day and say, I remember. And then at that point, it's going to be even better than it is now. It's going to be 1,000 times better than I could have ever imagined, and I cannot wait.